When I got my pilot's license, the first thing I wanted to do before I even went home from the airport is I wanted to take my wife up. She's been great to me during this time, and I think she just deserves to be the first passenger. So right after I got my license, I had her meet me at the airport, and we started kind of getting ready, and we realized we wouldn't be able to make it home in time to get the kids from school, so we had to cancel. So then I came up with this idea that I should take her to this restaurant in Camarillo. It's only like a half hour flight away. The first time we were going to do it, my wife got really sick and then felt sick for a few days. And then things come up every time where the weather's bad or the plane's booked. I now have been a pilot for a month and 6 days, and I still have not taken my wife flying. This morning, I thought, you know what? We're going to make it happen. I've been so excited. This was going to be the flight I was waiting for. The weather was kind of iffy. I got a weather briefing online, and I see there are some airmets and sigmets around. If you don't know, it's basically just weather that you kind of want to be concerned about, and none of them were really exactly on my route. Anyway, I concluded that it's not like a perfect day to go flying, but I felt confident that it would be safe. There are some potential clouds when you pass over these mountains over here, but I knew that once I got up, I could see if the clouds are there or not. If they're there, I'll just turn around and go back. It looked like it'd probably be kind of bumpy, which is really perfectly safe, though not necessarily ideal if I'm trying to convince my wife to go flying with me again. So I want it to be a nice flight on my first flight, but also I want it to eventually happen. So ultimately we decided, let's do it. Let's go. Oldest two kids were in school, so it's just my wife and my 3-year-old daughter. So let's throw them in the plane. Let's go. It's kind of windy. We're looking at the clouds and we think, we might have to turn around, but at least let's get up in the air, let's fly, and if we can't make it, we can't make it. So this whole time I'm a little bit on the fence. Should I fly? Should I not? And nothing is telling me that I can't fly. I walk out to the plane and I see a Cirrus pilot. He actually lives in Oxnard, which is right next to Camarillo, and he had driven from Oxnard just barely. So he was able to tell me that, yeah, that little patch of clouds over the mountain, that's it. On the other side, it's clear. I forgot one important aviation rule. Never trust a Cirrus pilot. So I started feeling a little better. I uncovered the plane, I untied it, and the first thing I decided to do is turn on the radio and listen to ATIS, which is the automated weather service. And it says Foxfield information, Mike, winds 250 at 22. That's a problem for me. What that means is that the winds are 22 knots. 22 is a bit much for a brand new pilot. But here's the cool thing. The entire time I was going back and forth. Should I fly? Should I not? I don't know. Maybe I'd probably be fine, and I probably would have been fine. But I have these things called personal minimums. It's a list written down and preferably shared with other people that tells you when you will fly and when you will not. And I stick with them. One of my personal minimums I have for right now is I will not fly in over 20 knots of wind. Today it was 22. The nice thing is I already made that decision. I don't have to keep thinking, well, it's really close to my personal minimums. Maybe I can do it, maybe not. I don't know. No, if it's over my minimums, I don't do it. And that's all there is to it. They wouldn't be minimums if I said, oh, if it's close to 20, then I'll do it. No, if it's over 20, I don't do it. And one of my most important rules about my minimums is I'm not allowed to change them on the day I'm going flying. So someday, as I get used to flying in the crazy winds we have up here, maybe I'll say, you know what, I'd like to raise that to 25 knots. But if I raise it to 25 knots, that change will go into effect the next day. I think one important thing to realize is that if you cancel a flight out of the interest of the safety of your passengers, in general, your passengers aren't going to be upset at you. They're going to be happy that you had their best interests in heart, and it's going to make them feel safer because they know that you're willing to cancel when things get rough. It's too windy to go flying. It's not safe. Hey, don't kick me. Hey, Allie, I want to keep us safe, okay? Well, most passengers will feel that way. Hey, Allie. So anyway, I know that personal minimums work well for me because I'm easily swayed when I don't have a hard line. But when I put a hard line, I know that I can stick to it. Another example of just how I, in particular, do better when I have a hard and set rule is actually not an aviation example at all. But when I was a teenager, I set a goal and said, I'm going to write in a journal every night. And I did it for years. And I could do it because I had the rule, I had the goal. One of my journal entries is just scratched into the paper and it just says, I can't find a pen. And that's it. But the point is, by making the rule that I will always write, even if it's a terrible journal entry, I kept that habit and I always did it. Then one day when I was like 19 or 20, someone told me, you really don't have to write in a journal every day. Just, write when something important happens. That was pretty much the last time I ever wrote in a journal. So I already know that I can't like regulate myself on rules that aren't hard and fast. I need to set rules for myself. That's not the case for everyone. Some people, maybe they can just make good judgment on the day of. But for me, I'm going to write my rules and I'm going to stick with them. So anyway, I hope this is helpful for someone, and I really hope that soon I'll have a video of actually taking my wife to Camarillo, and I hope it's a great flight. If this is helpful to you, please like it. If you want to help keep some other pilots safe and you think this can help them, please share it with them, and subscribe if you'd like to see more. Spoiler alert, a few days later we do make the flight, and it is a doozy. Once I finish editing that video, I'll make sure to put a link at the end of this video